I will never use police to fix, or rather to manage politics, has sent police and detectives to block the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from attending a church service in Kahawa West. Ladies and gentlemen, I am speaking about the raid by detectives to raid the residence of a pastor who was supposed to host the former deputy president and his convoy and leaders around him for a church service in Roysambu, Kahawa West. And I think there is an environment that is, that is coming, that is now emerging just around the broad-based administration. And I think some of this is something that has to be called out. Sometimes we say, when something wrong, it is wrong. However much you want to pamper it, when something is wrong, it is wrong. And this one is one of those incidences that no Kenyan should actually support. Details have emerged of how detectives tried to stop a Nairobi-based church from hosting the impeached former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua for a church service in Kahawa West, Roysambu constituency, on Sunday. This exclusive story that was done by The Nation on Sunday is saying Bishop J.J. Gitahi, founder of the Priesthood Fellowship Church, told the congregation on Sunday that the government had tried to cancel Mr. Gachagua's appearance, claiming that hosting him would amount to incitement and disrupt peace in the area. Priesthood Fellowship Church is located a few meters from Kahawa West roundabout, and its founder, a close ally of Mr. Gachagua, is a popular pastor who made his name through motivational talks in vernacular stations in Kikuyu land. Mr. Gitahi, according to Nation through the church Secretary General, told the Nation that after the service that the residence of the church Bishop Gitahi was raided by detectives in unmarked Subaru cars who demanded answers from the preacher as to why he was hosting Rigathi, them warning him that Rigathi's Mr. Gachagua's presence as a breach of national unity is a breach of national security, and that his presence would likely incite the local community against the government. They arrived at the detectives, at the preacher's residence at 8 a.m. on Sunday. 8 a.m. This was moments before Rigathi Gachagua convoy drove to the church. There were Subaru cars and sought audience with Mr. Gitahi on why he was hosting Mr. Gachagua, saying he intends to incite the people. The bishop, however, stood his ground, insisting that Mr. Gachagua's presence was a normal church service, just like any other, and after a few minutes later, they left. After the incident, Mr. Wanaina said Pastor Gitahi had to switch vehicles because he had been informed that the detectives were trailing him. And this is news coming just a month after some bishops also from Kiambu, and I don't know why Kiambu is the target. There was also, I think we analyzed it here, some bishops from Kiambu had also complained that some NIS agents were sneaking in their churches and asking them the kind of sermons they want to do.
Tunafikira ya kwamba kuna jama ya kunyamazisha wahubiri na pia kunyamazisha washiriki ambao wengine ni wanasiasa wenye wanatutembelea makanisani. Tumeona tukipigiwa simu na machifu, wengine wamepigiwa simu na waheshimiwa wakiulizwa watoe taarifa ambazo wale watu walitembea kanisani walikuwa wameleta. Tuliona mrorongo watu wakizuiliwa kuingia katika makanisa fulani. Kanisa mbili ambazo tulikuwa tumetembelea hatukuingia, na kulikuwa na GSU walikuwa katika ground kuzuilia tusiingie kwa makanisa. Tunaonelea kwamba rais amesema kuna uhuru wa taarifa, kuna uhuru wa speech, na kama kuna uhuru, hatuoni sababu chief atupigie simu kutuambia tumtumie taarifa, ama mheshimiwa yeyote yule, ama kiongozi yeyote ile.
Juzi alisema ya kwamba ye aungi mkono mambo ya freedom of speech na worship katika Kenya, lakini tunaona ya kwamba hii mambo haiendi vizuri. Anasema kwa mdomo, lakini huko mashinani tunaambiwa mambo mengine ya kwamba kila kanisa lazima iweze kuwa accountable katika maneno ambayo wanafanya. Watu wanakuja kutuuliza baada ni nani ambao mnakaribisha katika makanisa yenu kuja aidha katika ibada zenu. Hata wanakuja wanaketi kule nyuma watu ambao tuwajui na tukawaambia waweze kusema majina yao, hawasemi. Baadaye wanatoka nje na kuanza kuuliza washirika au watu ambao walikuwa wamekuja huku mlikuwa mmewaita kwa nini. Kwa hivyo kuna uhuru wa wambunge kutembelea kanisa yoyote, hao ma MCAs, na sisi kama washirika tunahubiri injili kwa watu wote Kenya, akiwako hata rais.
Kama sasa chief anapatikana akichukua nafasi kutaka kujua kanisa ilisomwa nini, hawa wabunge pia wanataka, kama wewe ni mbunge wa area ile watu wamekuja, unapiga simu unataka kujua pastor fulani alikuwa anazungumza nini, kwa nini watu fulani walikuja kwa kanisa hii. Sasa inaonyesha ni kanisa ni kama mlango wa kanisa umefungwa na serikali, wao ndio wataamuru watu watakaye kuja kanisani.
And the things they want to speak about at some time in last month, just around when the Rigathi impeachment was going on. And now there is another bishop who is being told not to host the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. And so the irony of all this is that when the president is attending church services elsewhere, he's confirming, or rather he's affirming to the country that the state will not meddle with the freedom of worship, and they're not going to meddle with the independence and the operation of the religious institutions. So, I want to, what I don't, and I can tell you, I realize that Rigathi Gachagua nowadays moves with the wife in all those church services. Of course, the crowds around him, without the security details, now has reduced. So he moves from one place to the other with the wife. Why? It's also security related. Sometimes you cannot abduct if you arrest him, the wife will actually know. And because there is also a trust deficit, even the private security details that he has hired cannot fully be trusted. He cannot fully trust them as the people that will take care of him. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is something that should worry Kenyans. Whether you support Rigathi or no is not the point. It is something that should worry the country, that the police are being used to fix politics. And I want to tell the president, and I think there are two things involved. They should be curious about it. They should be a bit cautious about it. The DCI, the Nation, in that article, the Nation are saying they tried reaching to DCI, but the DCI did not respond. I understand from journalist perspective, they never respond. And of course, you will not expect anything from them to respond in terms of this. They are not going to respond. Still in Murang'a, I think in Kenol, there was an event. And I want you to look at the reaction of the members of the public when Ndegwa Njiru called the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua so that they could listen to Rigathi while in that event. I want you to look at the reaction of the members of the public.
Asanteni sana. Sasa nimetumwa na salamu na Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. Deputy President, watu wanangoja kukusikiza. Adu wa nyumba itumulira. Haya wata kutukatishia rorere. No mweyomereirie. Ona mwahatererio. Ona ninde yometia wakaitu wakaireti. Utire bureta kiyaga no ithwe twari kuo no ithwe twi kuo na no ithwe tugakorwo turi kuo ni ndiraroreria na andu a kanitha na andu a biashara na ma professional na mwaka mweru ni ngumuonia njira iria tukugera ndamuonia njira mukanyo aruga mutika make mweyumye mwenyitie mushibi mukiraki na ibaro kuyokerwo kaina ona Kenya itukati ni kwagereire na itukikele yuma na nabekete kunyitirira na junior ona nine ngomunyitirira na 500.
And this is what we are saying, that it is going to be a political blunder on the side of Ruto administration if you allow the police, or rather the state machinery, to descend on Rigathi Gachagua. I followed ODM party event in Homa Bay. Some speakers chose to condemn Rigathi. And I've seen the president moving across the country talking about we need to stop politics. We need to stop politics so that we work for the people. And we need to stop tribal politics and tribal rhetoric. And of course, condemning and defending the decision that the state made to impeach the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. I maintained my stand in this podcast. I've not blinked that while the motive was from the boss, the grounds were flimsy. But of course, that is not relevant because now that is what under the bridge. I think I may not have the range to advise the president. But looking at the political events and speaking to some very good members of this channel coming from Mount Kenya, there is deep anger. Iyo makasiriko iko. So if you make this blunder, this will break Kenya Kwanza right in the middle. And this is why I want to tell you, descending on Rigathi is a big political blunder. Of course, the first thing I'm seeing, we are compounding, we are actually adding salt in the injury. There is already a problem of abductions and disappearances. Kenyans are almost normalizing it. And the whole issues about the police brutality during the protests. So to that extent, the public feels that police has been unleashed on members of the public. When the same force is unleashed on the former deputy president, you are taking people to Rigathi Gachagua. And that is what our politics is. Yesterday, I listened to Caleb Amisi, a speech I didn't really like though, but there is something he said that really made sense, that he was telling Kalonzo that you need to rush hata Mawe police station ushikwe. Wakenya wajue you are daring, because Kenyans like someone who is daring, someone who can show an element that he can sacrifice. He can stand in the gap to fight for their rights, because I think Kenyan politics, that is the architecture of Kenyan politics. They want someone to defend them. They're always downtrodden. So the force, the security forces, are the ones that are already being condemned on those abductions and disappearance and brutality. When the same descends on Rigathi, it does the whole thing different. And number two reason, I think that going after Rigathi Gachagua and unleashing that is going to trigger political emotions. It's going to trigger political emotions for no apparent reason. And this is what I'm saying. You might send them, and probably with just very good motive. Then something happens, the former deputy president, that probably is out of, not even planned by the same security forces. Something by the enemy of the country. It is very true what the detectives are saying, that there is a national security threat. Of course, it is because of his profile. So the public is already being fed with stories that some detectives are after Rigathi. They don't want Rigathi to go to the public places, this and that. And then something happens. You never know. The enemies of this country, Kenya, plot a sinister move against Rigathi. Out of the ordinary, or something happens to the deputy president, you'll be held liably accountable, because you're already showing signs that is a persona non grata. So I'm looking at it, and I said in this podcast, I detest, honestly, I detest injustice. Because injustice is injustice. If the Constitution, impeachment denied the former deputy president political rights, right to vie. But that did not deny him a right to association. The third reason why I think it's a blunder is the profile of churches. One incident of trying to block the former deputy president from attending a church service, it creates a bigger picture that the state is silencing the churches. Remember, it is the pulpit. The pulpit was a political platform for President Ruto. And I remember Kenya Kwanza, when they were campaigning, when Ida Odinga said the churches should be regulated, they ran a huge political propaganda that when Raila gets to the presidency, he's going to silence the churches. Now, another day, the narrative that will emerge is that President Ruto wants to silence the churches. But I want to tell you two reasons why I think this is happening. It's not about the national security something, no. When Rigathi, Mount Kenya relaxed, Mount Kenya relaxed, there was no problem. The two things that I'm seeing, number one, the state wants Rigathi to be isolated. That no one, when you hear that DCI is going after him, or some people are going after him, don't want him to attend a church, then even those politicians that are cowards will not coalesce around him. So they want to make sure that he's isolated, because wanasema, hey, kama wewe ndio wataki aende, basi mimi as an MP, maybe they can draw one file for me and do this and this for me. That is the first objective of making sure that he's really isolated and intimidated and really doesn't come out. The other issue is this. They want Mount Kenya to erupt. They'll go to whichever length. In any case, there is a slight protest in Mount Kenya, Rigathi name will emerge as a person that was destabilizing the government, and that is why there's a protest that have been organized in Mount Kenya. I said and I repeat here, the fact that there were no protests when Rigathi Gachagua was impeached was a blessing in disguise, because if protests would have been there, mimi nakwambia, the narrative would be that Rigathi was the one that has been financing the protest. And I say this, it's a blunder. We should not get into that direction of descending on Rigathi. No. I think he's already down. He's already home. Let that man enjoy his life. Let the others who want to fix their politics, let them run their politics. But on this one, we can't support this. We can't. And a very good Kenyan should not support this. Thank you.